Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to walk you through today's topic, because honestly, we're going to completely dismantle a massive society-wide misconception today. If you've ever thought that being smart is just about having a photographic memory, or rattling off random facts, or somehow always having the perfect answer locked and loaded, well, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this. True intelligence is something entirely different. It's not about the trivia you've crammed into your brain, it's really all about your everyday habits. Okay, let's dive right into this. We've all been sold this myth since we were little kids, right? Society basically tells us the smart people are the ones getting straight A's, the ones who seemingly know absolutely everything in the room. But the reality is quite different. What actually separates highly intelligent people from everyone else is simply how they think. It's how they handle stress and how they approach problem solving when, things go completely off the rails. So, consider this for a second. What if being smart has absolutely nothing to do with how much you actually know? In this explainer, we're going to step through 5 incredibly practical daily habits that completely rewire how we think and how we react to the world around us. And the best part? These aren't just genetic traits you have to be born with. No way. They are specific, actionable skills you can master step by step to essentially outsmart the chaos of everyday life. Let's look at the very first one.
Habit number 1, navigate conflict with questions.
Think about how most people handle a disagreement. When someone disagrees, human nature kicks in, right? We want to defend our ego. People argue, they get visibly mad, and they try their absolute hardest to prove the other person is stupid or just flat out wrong. But truly smart people, they do something totally different. Instead of fighting tooth and nail to be right, they just pause and they seek to learn. They use this incredibly simple, powerful phrase, "Help me understand why you think that." They use genuine, non-trick questions to make people open up rather than get defensive. They aren't trying to win an argument or, set a trap. They're genuinely trying to uncover how the other person actually thinks. And the crazy part? When you stop fighting and start asking, people actually listen to you. They drop their defenses. That is when real conversations happen and when minds actually change. Moving right along. Habit number 2, master perspective, or learning how to zoom out.
It's so easy for most of us to get completely stuck on small problems. You fail a test, you zoom straight into the panic zone, and suddenly you think you're a complete failure at life. Or maybe someone says no to you at work, and you think the whole shebang is falling apart and you're totally worthless. You just lose all sense of scale. But smart people, they zoom out, kind of like a camera lens. They don't see one bad test, they see a pattern. They turn a failed test into a solvable puzzle by asking, hey, maybe I just need different study habits. Or with a rejection, instead of feeling like they aren't good enough, they ask, what can I learn for next time? They don't panic. They rely on logic and they plan.
All right, habit number 3, focus on the controllable.
Look, most people waste a massive, and I mean completely exhausting, amount of energy worrying about things totally outside of their control. It is literally useless to stress about a thunderstorm or your boss's unpredictable mood. You can't change it. All that worry does absolutely nothing except make you tired, anxious, and super stressed out. What you can control is bringing an umbrella to your interview. You can control being kind, and you can control doing your absolute best in that exact moment. Smart people have a really simple rule. If they can't control it, they just don't give it their mental energy. They save all that precious bandwidth to actually solve problems and make things better.
Habit number 4, the power of quiet.
Most people are pretty terrified of quiet moments. When there's a silence in a conversation, they feel this intense, overwhelming pressure to rush in and fill it, usually just blurting out the very first thing that pops into their head. But the smart approach relies on a quiet method. First, listen without interrupting. Truly let the other person finish. Second, wait for the actual question. Third, and this is a real game changer, literally count to 3 in your head. 1, 2, 3. And finally, deliver your thoughtful answer. When you take that pause, when you literally count to 3 before speaking, people pay far more attention. Your words carry deliberate weight, and you seem smarter not because you know more, but because you clearly choose your words carefully. Let's see how this builds into our final one, habit number 5, pause before reacting. Most people react to almost everything immediately, don't they? If someone cuts you off in traffic, the impulse is to get furiously mad, just pure explosion. If a cashier is rude, they instantly snap back. But true intelligence means pausing instead of impulsively reacting to your environment. It means taking a physical breath.
asking yourself, wait, is this actually worth getting upset about? Instead of freaking out in traffic, the smart person realizes, hey, the other driver might just be having a terrible, no good day. Staying calm while everyone else gets overly emotional, that gives you immense power. The person who thinks while others react is the person who ultimately makes the better choices.
Okay, let's bring this all together into your weekly action plan.
True intelligence isn't some magical trait you're miraculously born with. It is a daily practice. It's about paying attention, thinking before you act, and deliberately choosing your responses day in and day out. But the crucial point is this: please do not try to do all 5 of these at once. That is exactly how most people get overwhelmed and fail. Your plan is to pick just one habit. Maybe it's counting to 3 before you speak, or maybe it's focusing only on what you can control. Choose one and focus on it for the entire next week. Pay attention before acting and build your skills from there. Master one, then move to the next.
Which brings us to a final, really important question for you today. Which of these 5 habits will you use to change your mind today? Seriously, think about it. Will you zoom out like a camera lens to solve a puzzle? Will you respond to a conflict with a genuine question instead of starting an argument? The choice is completely yours, and the power to outsmart your old reactions starts right now. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did, and I highly encourage you to pick that one habit and start mastering your mindset today. Catch you next time.